All right, today we're going to dive into something really cool, a 2,000-year-old mystery from the Talmud. It's this incredible logical puzzle that kicks off with what sounds like a super simple question. But trust me, the journey to find the answer it's a masterpiece of deduction. So here's the big question at the heart of it all. In the ancient temple, when an animal sacrifice was made, who got a share of the meat? Which priests got to take some home? Sounds pretty straightforward, doesn't it? Well, as we're about to find out, the answer is anything but. You see, for the ancient rabbis looking at this, it was never just about making a list of rules. No way. They saw themselves as detectives, literally piecing together clues from scripture to uncover this hidden logical principle. So let's follow their investigation step by step. Okay, so our investigation kicks off with the first big piece of evidence. And honestly, right from the get-go, it looks like it's going to give us a really clear-cut solution. Here it is, our first clue, straight from the book of Leviticus. And on the surface, this thing seems to give us a direct answer. The key phrase to lock onto is the priest who effects atonement. So based on that verse, the first theory that pops up is super simple, really intuitive. A rabbi named Reish Lakish is the one who puts it forward. He says, look, the priest who does the work, the one actually performing the ritual, that's the one who gets a share. Makes total sense, right? You do the job, you get the reward. You'd think, case closed. But yeah, not so fast. And just like in any good detective story, the second you think you've got it all figured out, some new evidence pops up to blow your theory out of the water. Things are about to get a whole lot more complicated. Okay, here's the first major snag. In the temple, priests worked in weekly shifts called watches. Now, even if only one priest performed a specific ritual, the entire watch on duty that week got a share of the meat. That completely contradicts our first theory, doesn't it? So the rabbis have to go back to the drawing board. They've got to refine the theory. Okay, they think, maybe it's not about actively doing the service. Maybe it's just about being eligible to do it. So the new idea is if a priest is on duty and he's fit for service, he gets a share. The whole focus just shifted from action to eligibility. But hang on a second, because another challenge immediately rears its head. What about a minor, a priest who's too young to actually serve in the temple? He was still allowed to eat the sacrificial meat, but he is definitely not fit for service. Uh-oh, our brand new theory is already hitting a wall. So it's time for another revision, and this is where they come up with a really clever distinction. They argue that the word to eat in this whole context doesn't just mean, chewing and swallowing. It means officially receiving a share. A minor, sure, he can eat the meat if an adult priest gives him a piece from his portion, but the kid doesn't get his own official share. And this little tweak saves the fit for service rule, at least for now. And right here, this is where we get the big plot twist. We're about to run into one specific case that seems to just completely shatter the rule that the rabbis have so carefully built up. The problem is a blemished priest. See, a priest who had a physical blemish was forbidden from serving in the temple. So according to our fit for service theory, he shouldn't get a share, right? But he does. He gets a share. This is a huge contradiction. It looks like our whole theory is broken. But instead of just giving up, the rabbis dig even deeper into the scripture. And guess what? They find another clue. This verse says, every male among the priests shall eat it. And they see this as a clue that there's a specific intentional exception being carved out from the main rule. So now we get into a fascinating debate. If this verse is creating an exception for an unfit priest, which one are we talking about? Is it option A, the blemished priest, who's permanently unfit for service, but he's totally fine to eat other sacrifices right now? Or is it option B, the temporarily impure priest? This guy's unfit to eat or serve right now, but he'll be good to go later tonight. The Talmud lands on option A, and the logic is that in this very moment, the blemished priest is at least fit to eat, while the impure one isn't. And this whole debate over the exception, it leads to the big aha moment of the story. A totally new perspective is about to come into play that's going to solve all of the contradictions we've been wrestling with. So a rabbi named Rav Yosef steps up with this absolute game-changing insight. He looks all the way back to that original verse and asks a question that is so simple but so profound. He says, hey, if this was all about receiving a share, why does the verse specifically use the word eat?
he realizes that single word has to be the key to the whole thing.
And check out his logic. It's brilliant. Step 1. The verse puts all the emphasis on the act of eating. Step 2. This implies the core principle isn't about serving, it's about the ability to eat. So step 3, the rule isn't fit to serve, it's fit to eat. Which leads to the final principle. To get a share, a priest has to be fit to eat the meat at that very moment. Just like that, this elegant new principle solves all our earlier problems. The blemished priest, he gets a share because he can eat, even if he can't serve. It all clicks into place.
But, a theory is only as good as its weakest link. It has to stand up to the toughest cases. So the rabbis immediately start throwing some of the most complex, tricky scenarios they can think of at Rav Yosef's new principle to see if it holds.
All right, here we go, the final dilemmas, the real stress tests. What about a priest who is both blemished and impure? The blemish means he should get a share, but the impurity means he can't eat. So what happens? And then what about the reverse? An impure priest who, in a very rare case of a communal offering, is actually allowed to serve. Does he get a share, even though he's not allowed to eat it? These are the really tough edge cases that are going to prove or disprove this whole thing. So to finally crack these dilemmas, the Talmud brings out the ultimate proof. The one test case that will confirm the new principle beyond a shadow of a doubt. And it's the case of the high priest in mourning. Just look at this. A high priest who's in a state of acute mourning is considered so essential that he's still allowed to perform the temple service. So, is he fit to serve? Yep, but, and this is crucial, the law forbids him from eating sacrificial meat while he's in mourning. So, is he fit to eat? No. And what's the final verdict? Does he get a share? He does not. This is the smoking gun. This proves conclusively that being fit to eat is the only thing that matters, not being fit to serve. And with that, the mystery is solved. The principle is confirmed. After this long, winding road of questions and challenges and revisions, this one single, elegant rule emerges. The eligibility to eat, that's the key that unlocks the entire puzzle. This whole thing wasn't just about ancient rituals. It's a masterclass in logical deduction in the pursuit of a principle that's fair and consistent. And it kind of leaves us with a bigger question, doesn't it? What can this 2,000-year-old search for a coherent and just rule teach us about how we build our own systems of justice today?